Hello everybody, welcome to another Transformers review. Today I'm doing a bit of a throwback. I had some store credit when I'd done a purchase a few months back at Robot Kingdom, and I decided to get the Transformers Alternators, the robots in disguise, Ford GT RODIMUS. It's one of the only alternator figures that I didn't have back in the day. Now, if you are fairly new to the Transformers line, this is kind of the masterpiece line we had before they were masterpiece figures. These are fully licensed vehicles which transformed up into robots. Now, they weren't the most dynamic of figures, but man, did their alt modes look astonishing. Quick spin around the box. We just have minimal artwork, and we get all of the sponsors plastered all over the box. It's a nice clamshell design, and I like the fact you can see what you're getting before you purchase the product. Now that, my lovelies, in my opinion, is a ruddy, gorgeous alt mode, and not without its faults. I seem to have some smudging on the inside of the window from the paint applications, but look at that. What a gorgeous car. Lovely chromed up rims. We have rubber tires. We even have the detail on the tread there. The radial Cybertronian. And too hard on the trunk. We can open up the trunk. This just comes up. And we have the engine block. In the weapons on these are generally formed up of the engine blocks, which is nice. It's a good use. It's a nice storage option for the weapons. We have the ability to open up the doors, and as you can see there, all of the interior is nicely kitted out. We have the gear stick. That's a rubber gear stick. We've got some nice... we haven't got any floor mats, unfortunately, but we do have the steering wheel and a majority of the dash in there. I love the kind of size of these vehicles as well. I mean, if we bring in the oversized Wei Zhang Spike, or for example the Human Alliance figures, I think they scale pretty darn well. I mean, that's a pretty perfect fit. Just showing it off against some of the more modern figures, for example the Masterpiece Lamborghini or Optimus Prime. They're definitely done to a much larger scale in vehicle modes, and in my opinion the vehicle modes are very true and accurate to the original design, mainly because the Alternators and the Binaltech figures are basically shell formers. There's a lot of kibble and shell on those bots. They concentrated on getting the vehicle modes pretty much spot on. The bots became slightly more dynamic when it went from the Binaltech and Alternators through to the Alternity line, where the vehicles were more vehicles, smaller scale, but the bots did look more like bots. But it didn't really appear to be any rhyme or reason to whom got what mode with these. Pretty much everybody was a car, including the likes of Prime, albeit he was more of a pickup. But yes, they all had kind of vehicle car modes, as if they'd landed in the early 2000s on Earth. Anyway, enough of my excessive rambling. Let's just take a quick look at this alt mode. Very gorgeous. You've got the fuel cap there underneath. There he is. There's Rodimus. Hi. Let's get him transformed up. Now we need to open up these doors again, like so. I can take my little driver out. He can go and stand over there somewhere. Open up both of those doors. This bonnet section here is going to lift up. We need to get your nail or something under there to lift that up. This is going to again lift up from the front and move backwards. And then these pieces here untab, like so, and they are going to lift up and bring out to the side. Bring these arms down and extend them around and rotate like so. Bring this shoulder piece down so that the front of the vehicle is facing forwards. The flaps over the legs are going to open up. These arms come down, and then this here is on a slider. It just slides up to cover off this joint. I want to lift that up. This comes up, rocks out, and you want to remove. Here's gun. Guns are really easy to assemble. You want to flip down both these handles. This is then going to pull apart. I've got a little bit of excess paint on there as well, and flip this around. That, unfortunately, is the gun, and that's the other gun. So that is the weapons. These are going to open up like so. Again, that's just going to come away from this part of the torso. Lots and lots of tabs and hinges on these alternators. This chest piece is going to come out and close off to the front like so. This piece will come up, down, around and off to the side, and then this whole leg piece will rotate across all the way around, and there we have a foot which we can bring down, and there is a heel spur. Everything on this needs to be unpegged, and so you really need kind of long nails to get everything done, which is pretty ridiculous. There's a tab on the back of this panel. It is incredibly stiff, but it needs to slide on a slider to go to the front, so we're going to have to push this all the way off. There we go, that's done, and that now allows us to close off the back fully like so. Make sure this piece comes up and over, and that's just going to rest on the top of those wheels. These are actually going to form the front of the legs. Now we're going to rotate the waist all the way around, so that's now all of the front section. Now we come to the back. Yeah, the back's a little untidy. Right, come to the steering wheel. Fold the steering wheel section down. The seats in turn also fold downwards. Using this folding hinge, you want to fold that backwards all the way under, and then that is going to fold down and tuck in, and that has formed the back of the figure. This piece here then folds downwards like so. This can come up and over, and this is going to come down and flatten off, and that is going to form the chest. And here we have RODIMUS all transformed up into his robot mode. And yes, the alternators and binaural techs were a little bit kibble-tastic to say the least, but there's definitely a robot under there. And Hot Rod, or RODIMUS, he had one of my favourite designs. He was a gorgeous alt mode, and the robot is kind of acceptable. It does bear some sort of resemblance to his G1 character. I'm not too fussed about those big arm pads and the doors hanging off the back. That's kind of what we're getting now with the movie Bumblebee, but it's that big backpack, not really tabbing in, that bothers me the most. There's just so much width to it, and with the modern day figures like Sideswipe, this would have all have folded inwards and really compacted that back section. The legs, again, they don't look really that nice from that side profile, but when we come around to the front, having that big wheel on there and having these bend over that wheel, it's not too bad at all. But again, I would like them to come further over and tab in somewhere. Nothing really tabs, it just rests. And personally, I really like how that face sculpt looks. I think it's a really good resemblance to RODIMUS or Hot Rod. We do have the ability to lift that front visor piece up. You can lift the visor up and then bring the helmet down, again showing off more of that face sculpt. But yeah, I think it's a pretty nice looking head. We got up and down, we go left and right, and we can tilt side to side, albeit very slight. Not a big fan of these shoulder joints. I don't think I'd ever heard of ratchets when these were made. We can go up and down, we can go up to the side. There is an upper bicep rotation, and we do have a double jointed elbow. As you can see, we do have a ball socketed wrist. The trigger finger is separated from the three below, but they do just open up. There is rotation on that waist, albeit everything kind of moves and gets into the way. The legs can come this far forwards, stay in. They can come that far backwards, they can come out to the side. This is so kibble-tastic. We get an upper thigh rotation, we get a thigh bend. That's meant to be the knee, but it's kind of situated at the thigh. And then the ankles can go forwards and backwards, left and right, really fighting with the legs here, left and right. And then we can pivot side to side on that ankle rocker. You can kind of sort of get him in some sort of running pose, but there is no way in heck of him ever passing the RODIMUS Prime 1 foot pose test. And last but by no means least, here he is alongside some of his fellow bots, just to give you an idea of how he scales. He's kind of the size of a large Voyager, the likes of Sideswipe and Red Alert, that sort of size. But unfortunately, just due to all that kibble, as much as I would love the Alternators to fit into the modern day masterpiece line, I just don't think they quite tick all the right boxes. Once again, I'd like to thank Robot Kingdom for making this review possible. I've included a link as to where I purchased this in the description below. Feel free to leave a comment. Do you like these kind of throwback videos? If these are for you, then just let me know. If you found the video useful, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Either or, I appreciate your feedback. And until next time, from myself and RODIMUS, thanks for watching. Goodbye.